Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first Code Cafe of the season. My name is Jason Koo, developer advocate here at Sendbird. And in case you haven't heard of Sendbird before, we're a best-in-class communications as a platform service. We help connect people via chat, voice, and video call services for your web and mobile applications. I'm co-hosting today with my very esteemed colleague, Chris Chabot. Chris, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jason. So good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk to Nicholas from PetBnB to learn more about how chats integrates into the experience. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about that. So Nicholas, can you do a quick introduction and let us know what PetBnB is?
Sure. Yeah, so PetBnB is basically a platform where pet parents can find pet lovers in their neighborhoods to look after their pets. Right now we focus on dogs, but the name says it, we're planning to expand to other pets as well. So pets can stay overnight. You can do pet daycare, you can do walking. And yeah, we set it up about 4 years ago, just over 4 years. I always struggle a bit because there was a kind of a moonlighting session as well, where I had my normal job and doing this in the evenings. Right now we're present in the Netherlands, but we do have plans to kind of expand overseas as well.
Nice, so, very cool. Yeah. Thank you, Nicholas. Since the name of the series is Code Cafe, I'm gonna ask everyone what you're drinking this morning. And Nicholas, you took a photo of your earlier drink.
I did, and the photo is it was you probably can't see it very well, but I call this the cappuccino. Excuse the pun. I tried to make a nice little decoration with chocolate, but my foam has disappeared now. But yeah, tasty.
Very impressive.
Cool. Nice. Chris, what are you drinking?
I am currently on some sparkling water because I'm sort of ahead of you guys. I've had my 2 flat whites in already this morning, and I figured a third one I'd probably be vibrating on the screen.
Oh, nice. Cool. Well, I got in my mug. I've got what I like to call a iced coffee without the coffee part. So it's pretty much just iced milk at this point.
Nice.
Awesome. Anybody else online? Has anyone got like a very fascinating, interesting drink? Actually, any drink if you'd like to share. Let's see here. So you can either turn your camera on and just show it, or not. I know some people may not want to show what they're drinking, but oh, there we go. Oh, service market. So what is inside your cup, Uzar? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I think yes.
There we go. Oh, I still can't hear you. Even though you're not muted, I cannot hear you.
No, Uzar, I think you're gonna have to use the chess.
Shucks.
You know, it's kind of appropriate for the topic of today.
Okay, this is our if you get it. Oh, there we go. Black coffee. Okay, same as Elliot. Nice.
Hi everyone. I'm drinking mate. It's a traditional beverage here in Uruguay, and
that's pretty cool.
You drink it with like a straw. It's like a herbal tea.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Good to see you, Martin. It's I like that mug as well.
Thank you. Likewise.
Cool. Nice. Okay.
I'm not drinking anything, but I've had many cappuccinos with Nicholas before at his previous company. Just talked about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which company was that?
UShip.
Oh, UShip.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Jor and I worked at UShip for about 4 years, Jor, something like that.
Yeah, I think something like that indeed. Yeah.
I think that's a nice bridge to one of our first questions. So absolutely. You're doing something which is pretty impressive, which is building a 2-sided marketplace.
Yeah.
That's always hard because you have to balance both suppliers as well as demand. But you've got some experience with building marketplaces, right? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so actually PetBnB is my 3rd startup. My first startup actually was close to where Martin is based in Buenos Aires in Argentina. We had an online classified startup, which really piqued my interest in terms of marketplace and everything. It was classified sounds like a very easy business, but actually it's extremely complex. And one of the main reasons is sort of quality. It's really important that you establish trust in the marketplace. So sort of getting that bit right is complex, especially when you tend to be free. So the barrier for a fraudster to get in is relatively low. But that I did that for about sort of 5-6 years. Then I worked at UShip. So UShip is, again, online transport marketplace. It was a different experience, should we say. My first marketplace, we were completely bootstrapped. Deuce, that was called. UShip, was quite highly funded as well. But again, I think with most marketplaces, they're different verticals, but similar principles apply as to what makes them work, right? You need to match supply and demand. You need to have quality, I think, also of supply. It's extremely important. And I enjoyed UShip, but I had this kind of nagging, desire to kind of go it alone. And then sort of at the time, my co-founder Lupe and I, actually, we also worked at UShip together. We both had a classifieds background. We knew from classifieds pets was a kind of a huge category as well. There's a lot of adoption going on via classifieds. And we are sort of looking, we thought pets would be really an interesting space, also that kind of human touch. Lupe had experienced, I think, through his family, people, most dog owners hesitate to kind of give their dogs away to kennels. Kennels tend to have a kind of a bad reputation, be it, for whatever reason. I'm sure they're good kennels. I'm not going to judge kennels per se, but it really feels like there's kind of a friction to giving your dog away to a kennel when you have to travel or when you have to go away. And we just thought there was kind of a better solution. A lot of people rely on friends and family. That can also sometimes be awkward or difficult. You're always asking a favor. Is it possible? So there had to be kind of a better way. And there are plenty. We thought, well, there's plenty of pet lovers out there, and many people who don't actually have pets, and also from a personal side as well. I would like to have pets, but my children very early were kind of scared of dogs. I mean, especially you're 2-3, you have a dog coming at you, it kind of can be a bit intimidating. And so we thought definitely about here's an opportunity for a marketplace where there wasn't anything yet in the Netherlands for kind of matching pet lovers with pet parents. The idea was validated. There were existing marketplaces in other countries, in the US especially. These ideas come out, but it tends to, at the same time, we didn't really see competition as a bad thing. We saw it also as a validation of the idea. And especially if they raise money and they tend to grow, it was an idea that this could work here. So it was.
So one of the things that you mentioned a few times is trust. Like you have to trust the platform. You have to trust the quality of the ads that exist, and with a two-sided marketplace, the parties have to trust each other as well, right?
Correct.
Time to build trust up. So how do you deal with that with PetBnB? How do you facilitate?
So we have actually many phases. So actually getting people to sign up to sit a pet is relatively easy, right? You show a picture of a cute dog or a cute cat, and you say, hey, do you want to look after this? And actually, it doesn't cost. Like, supply is there. It's the quality supply that you're after. And so for us, the sign up flow for a pet sitter, we've added some questions in there to make it maybe counterintuitively. We actually want to make it slightly harder for you to sign up. So we ask questions there. But the more information we get, the better we can judge whether you will be a good pet sitter or not. So the first stage is we do manually review every profile. and just to make sure that it's good. We also, in some cases, we interview people. If we have some doubts, we do call them up and say, hey, try to clarify the doubts that we have. And then once things are online, of course, you have to make sure things go well. So we do have through our search ranking and through kind of other factors, we do, I have to add that we do verify the identity of everyone as well when they sign up. But then when they're in the wild, should we say, we have a kind of a back end, and we're sort of integrating AI into that to kind of monitor performance and just to try and understand better what makes a good sitter, right? What are the characteristics which define a good sitter? But we do, if people do not respond, if people get reviews below a certain amount, we warn them or we adjust their ranking. So we have a mechanism, an ongoing mechanism to kind of monitor them.
Yeah, I'm a pet parent myself, so I can totally relate that when you give your babies away to someone else, that's a big deal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the questions we got from one of the participants as they signed up for today was that they were wondering about a tech stack. Like, what have you used to build all of this? Now, you mentioned AI, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I also know that you're coding yourself, and there's a small team to drive success. So I'm sure that informs some of the choices of the technologies you've chosen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think with the way, when we first started, it was really, PHP backends, HTML, JavaScript, front end. To be honest, our first version was a bit of a mess. Everything was kind of mixed together. We were at the beginning, we were a very small team. We had one back end guy. We had a front end when we first started. A front end guy. He kind of stepped away with a different opportunity, and then to move things forward, I basically learned to kind of do the front end as well. We've since grown, and we currently have a website, but we're working on apps. So our tech stack is, we will still keeping PHP for our backend. Right now, we're doing that in Symfony, and the front end. App-wise, we're working in Flutter. Nice. We effectively have a team of four and a half developers, should we say? Some are part-time, but it makes it, I think, Flutter as a kind of a iOS and Android solution, it makes it easier for us to kind of develop an app and not have to then separately, for a team of 4 people to manage a backend, 2 different apps, and a front end is too much.
So Jason, I know you play with Flutter a little bit as well. So you've definitely got some fans here in the audience, the same kind of choices. How was it to integrate Sendbird into that?
So actually integrating Sendbird was relatively easy. I mean, for us, we saw, I can take you through why we went for a chat solution. I think that's kind of important in terms of, the traditional marketplace that we saw out there, and the early phases were always, the communication was a bit bulky and kind of not very easy. It was, you get a request, you get a message on the website, you get an email, you click on the email, you go back, you send another message, the other person gets another email, and it kind of kills the flow. And what you saw was a lot of people, saying, hey, why don't we, move to WhatsApp? And it was, the usage was exploding in that. And it was like, well, there has to be a better way. If people are used to using WhatsApp, integrating chat into our system has to be the way to go. It will just improve the whole process, the whole communication experience. But building our own was kind of with such a small tech team and all the things you had to worry about, WebSockets, all these kind of things, it seemed like too much to go. So what we decided to look into, of course, was an existing solution, but one which could cope with scale. For a while, I have to say, before Sendbird, we had tried Layer, and we had a few problems there in terms of things are always working, but Sendbird, to be honest, since we use it, it is very easy to set up, actually very easy for us to migrate from Layer across, and the trust I got just by reading was, you Carousel in Singapore had used you, Reddit had used you. These were sites which gave me confidence in terms of, if you can power their chat with that level of scale, you can power ours as well. And integration was relatively simple. I mean, it didn't take us too long. I think the hardest bit our side was really the kind of the UI and how that's going to look. Actually doing the whole endpoint, integrating that in, getting the data in and out was relatively easy. And it's worked great. I mean, we had no complaints from any of our users. We have people who just don't delete any of their chats. They have a lot. So we have people who have thousands of chats in there because we treat every booking as a chat. We do say at some stage, hey, maybe you should delete, make your whole experience a bit faster. But it's worked great. And we've seen it also in the metrics, coming back in terms of the communication. It's just a great thing on the site to see. People almost chatting in real time. We can see it in the metrics, that this is working, and then it just leads to our bookings have gone up, and actually the time to book has also been reduced because people can message each other this way.
Yeah, those are important metrics, and I think it also goes towards the trust that we were talking about earlier, right?
Absolutely.
And build a connection. That's a big deal. So I as a developer advocate, I do travel before this thing happened quite a bit to conferences and stuff. I know that for me, one of my favorite things is always that I'm in some foreign country, in some city, sitting at the bar in the hotel after I'm done, getting a text message from my pet sitter showing me some photos that my cats are still okay. And I always love that. And the people that are sitting around me always had a good laugh as well, that Chris is checking his cats again. It's hilarious. So I imagine you see quite a bit of that. So what are some of the funnest stories that you've seen happen in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get a lot of people. We encourage it as well because it's part of the trusting as well. Hey, my pet is having a good time. My dog is having a great time with this person. I mean, we have some sort of great videos of I think a couple of weeks ago, was it like 3-4 weeks ago, we had quite a lot of snow here. So we had some people sending. I don't know if the dog could do this before. I assume it could. But if not, that's a fantastic sitter. He managed to actually get the dog on its own little kind of it was almost like a lilo for like a sleigh down a hill. It would basically grab it itself, take it up, go down again. It was having a fantastic time.
That's amazing.
So it's really, I mean, so it's really a great feature, and it adds to the trust as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I remember when we were doing our pre-interview chat, you also mentioned your free chickens.
Yes, this is true. So this is so PetBnB. Yeah, we are really dogs, but because of the name, people expect other pets right now, and they work around the existing, should we say, the constraints of the platform. So we did have someone who basically, they couldn't find chicken. They couldn't choose chickens. Of course, it was only dogs. So they kind of, they were looking for someone to look after their chickens. So they just called them Labradors. But then they had to carefully explain in the message that actually no, it's 2 chickens. And I think free eggs was kind of part of the of the booking itself.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's gotta be hard as a startup though. Like, how do you take a margin of free eggs? That's
that was I mean, and we have to be careful because we don't like people necessarily going off site. They're not covered by our insurance. So we had one delivered,
which I imagine is also one of the benefits of having your own in-app chats. Because once people go to WhatsApp or whatever external experience is, you lose control, right? And if anything negative were to happen, you can't really intermediate between them.
Exactly, and that's really what we want to. It's also one of the reasons. I mean, it's not about looking at people's data and things like that, and it's about having the whole experience within one system for us. And that if things go wrong, if we need to look at something and see what happened, it's within the chat. We can do that. People are aware of that happening, but also I think it's a kind of, as part of the trust. of course, over time, you develop, if you're using the regular sitter, you develop a trust with that person. But especially at the beginning, I don't know, some people are kind of scared of sharing their phone number, doing that, adding someone. How's that relationship going to work out? And the chat is really a way of giving them that experience, but also the safety at the same time. And then, if the experience is as good as a WhatsApp, which it tends to be, why would you then switch? You have everything in there integrated, and actually our experience is kind of customized to the situation. WhatsApp is I can chat with a person, but within PetBnB you can chat, but you also have the calendar, the booking, the whole details about everything there. So why move over? And for us, it's really a selling point. I think some of our competitors don't have chat integrated yet. They're using kind of more the antiquated system, and I think it's definitely an advantage having it.
Yeah. So we got quite a few people in the audience who are interested in Sendbird, which of course Jason and I absolutely love. What would you say are some of the most important lessons you've learned while implementing this? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? What may have been a bit more difficult than you hoped for?
Sure. I think, our situation is maybe slightly different to the way Sendbird is kind of set up. So I think Sendbird is set up very much for kind of a stream of conversations between people. It's like a WhatsApp where you have a singular conversation, ongoing conversation with someone. What we do is we made a decision early on to say we treat every booking as a separate conversation. So for us, what we would have to do is, we have a UI where you have a list of contacts, you have a list of bookings for each contact, and then you have the messages within the booking. What we had to do was pull the bookings in, extract the contacts out to build that list. So that was a bit of a complication there. And then how do you do that at scale? One of the downsides, as I mentioned before, was people having 1,000 plus conversations and not deleting them. So then really, controlling that and making sure we're within our limits and trying to work around, how can we make the experience great, but also from a UI perspective, just make sure it's always working in terms of how many calls we're making, in terms of how we're caching things, etc. So I think the setup per se was easy. It's just how you then fit that to your situation and how does that work? But I think Sendbird over time, we've got great support from you guys. When we've had problems or issues, it's always good to say, hey, this is our idea. How can we solve it in a better way? And actually, we're excited. To give one example, I think is when we chose to go for an app and we chose to go with Flutter at the time, there were kind of plans for a Flutter plugin by Sendbird, but they weren't concrete. So we actually started building our own plugin around it. But I know that's now coming out. So I think the idea of having those tools there, those libraries, I think the documentation is great. I mean, some of our other engineers have said, the documentation is really easy to understand and follow.
That's a big deal.
So I think that I think that saves time as well, and I think it's the ongoing kind of maintenance. So I think I would say structuring it to fit your use case is probably the complexity, and that's not necessarily Sendbird. It's also what is your use case. But I think most of the other things we found fairly easy to implement.
Very cool. So one of the things that I find is that the way you design the UI can severely influence how people use chats.
Yes.
Like one of the weirdest experiences I've had myself is I worked for Google a whole bunch of years, and Google Plus was one of the projects I was on. And what I noticed is that when the input box for the text was small, people wrote small posts. When we made it twice as large, just a small paragraph, people started writing email length posts just by a little UI tweak. So you've built your own UI. So what were some of the thinking that went into what you've built and how it ended up being?
Sure. I mean, what we wanted to do is, I have to say, we do take inspiration in terms of design around what are really used apps and websites and things like that. A lot of it is you don't want make people think too hard, right? You want to
Yeah.
replicate experiences they're still kind of used to. So, if 90% of people are using WhatsApp and it's a chat, you want it to be,
Oh yeah.
the way people type and
Mhm.
if they press enter or if they do something like that, it has to replicate an experience that they're used to.
Yeah.
If you start giving them an experience that is completely different to
Yeah.
what they're used to for a certain thing, it goes wrong.
Mhm.
So, for us, it's been a bit, and we learn a bit. I mean, let's say for the first time when we launched chat, we made it slightly different experience on the mobile versus the desktop. On the desktop, I think some people were used to pressing enter for a new line, but actually on the desktop,
Nice.
we made it a bit more like Skype, which said press, you send a message and that kind of disturbed, some people were like, freaking out, not really used to that. So I think it's go with your ideas, try and make it really intuitive and what people are used to, but at the same time, depending on the feedback, adjust.
Very cool. So I imagine that, like you said, there's a lot of people who got new pets during the whole situation we're going through at the moment, which I always worry that those pets are going to feel so lonely when people go back to the office. I got a kitten at the beginning just before all of this happened, and I worry about her as well. But I also imagine that for you, it's an interesting time, right? Because as we're all slowly getting carefully hopeful that there's light at the end of the tunnel, I imagine opportunities for you are going to explode as well. So tell me about your ideas for the future. Where are you going?
Sure, of course. I mean, to start with, I think, Corona, of course, has had an impact. People are staying more at home. People are traveling less. And at the beginning, it was almost like the site was a predictor of the level of lockdown you were in, when suddenly everyone was sort of, it was, people canceling their holidays, people canceling their bookings. And before there was lockdown, say here in the Netherlands, we saw things, like spikes of cancellations, et cetera, et cetera. But the flip side, as you say, is during lockdown, the level of adoption of pets has really shot up. And I think, of course, there'll be a level of flexibility. People will be working a bit more from home, but I think the office won't lose its existence. And I think one of the things people miss is the real face-to-face human connection. So I think there's always a place for the office. And I think people, they've been locked down for so much, they're going to want to get out of their house. They're going to want to travel. They're going to want to do things again. And of course, they're going to have solutions for their pets. So we see already just a kind of the market for us in terms of pet numbers is going to be a lot bigger than it was. But there's all opportunity for us in terms of expansion, in terms of services and pets, pet care types which are available. So it's really exciting in terms of that. I mean, we see, we've got plans for adding cats sometime later on this year, probably after the launch of our app, and sort of other pets as well. Services, puppies have been taken on a lot, but people's expectation of looking after a puppy, sometimes the reality and the kind of idea are two different things. So there's a strong demand for sort of training, and that's a service we're looking into. How can you integrate that? So there's a lot of,
Elliot was nodding in the background. Elliot has an absolutely lovely puppy called Peaches. And the funny thing is, like, puppies are so adorable and small and cute and furry and fluffy. But then once they're like a couple weeks old, they turn into a pterodactyl that will tear your house apart until they're about a year old. I'm sure the training is going to be a good one to expand.
It's really something. And of course, then we also have, geographic expansion. I mean, as I said, we're present in the Netherlands. We know there are other parties like us in Europe, but for us, it's really, if there's no brand per se in a market, and we think our product is better, and we've got good retention, and we've got something that people like, there's an opportunity for us to go in there. And I think always competition is always good. It improves everyone's product as a result, and the consumer ends up benefiting.
Very cool. So we're at the end of our scheduled 30 minutes. Before we go to Q&A, and Jason, if I accidentally skipped over any of your questions, jump into the Q&A as well. But if anyone has some questions for you or wants to know more about your business or is looking to be part of your adventure, how can they best contact you?
So they can email me. It's probably the best. It's probably the best way. Or they can connect with me on LinkedIn or any other kind of social platform, or connect with our page on Facebook. My email. Yeah, I can spell it out if that helps. It's Nicholas at PetBnB.nl.
And it's in the chat as well. Awesome.
In the chat as well.
I'll post these links.
Thank you for that, Jason. Cool. So with that, shall we go over to Q&A? Who's got some PetBnB questions or chat questions? Not all at once.
I got a few questions. Well, if people want to take time typing up one. So you talked a little bit about it in terms of like, your PetBnB's own experience implementing chat in Sendbird. Are there any like top pieces of advice you would give other startup owners or other business owners looking to implement chat or other messaging services into their apps?
I would say, I think if it's like a marketplace type business, I think, chat is really, you can almost make it the core of your business, right? I mean, any kind of two-sided marketplace is going to have a communication platform to it, be it, I don't know, dating, be it, I don't know, classifieds. Like, I think chat is really, I think it can really improve your business, and it can really improve the metrics and just the user experience of, I'm in here, I get kind of real-time response. I mean, I think for me, that's like one of the real, as a consumer, it's one of the keys of this is working. I sign up to, I remember, in the early days when I was sort of doing classifieds, I wanted to test out the competition and see who was kind of, if I put up an ad, like where would I get the fastest response? And that would kind of tell me, hey, this is alive, rather than it's kind of a ghost town. And I think with chat, you really double down on that experience. People these days, I know from my experience, I think other people too, that email, getting a message via an email or things like that is kind of a slow way of communication. I think the people communicate less frequently. So I think chat really adds that kind of wow factor of, I got that response now, right? And I think that's really a kind of a it's really convincing to a user that, hey, this works, right? It's not like I spent all this time putting up this ad, or I spent all this time communicating with this person and I get no response back. So I think that, there are tools out there. You don't have to build things yourself. There are tools like Sendbird which can really cut your development time, and you just have to adapt them to your use case. But I think from a UI perspective and a UX perspective, I think it's a great addition. I'd definitely recommend it.
Nice, cool, thank you. So I know in the app you talked about using chat, and people are using pictures, and you have integrations into your own service. Do PetBnB users also use video or voice calls? Yeah,
they do. So they record videos. I mean, we encourage people always, as part of the stay, to record photos and videos. And actually, one of my pet projects that I really want to kind of do further along the line is have a kind of an automatic kind of staycation video, should we call it, where if people have taken, I don't know, 4 or 5 pictures during the stay, those are kind of like joined together to make some kind of video, which is then kind of packaged and sent to the pet parent as a kind of a stay diary. So video is really it's easy to do. I mean, it's just people are so used to it. Also, with I think all the chat applications they take, they're so used to taking videos. They're taking a small 10-15 second video. It's quicker than saying, hey, I don't know, Max had 5 meals a day, Max had a good time today. Yeah, here's a video of actually what Max did today and Max having fun. And I think that visual kind of reminder is really effective as well.
Nice, very cool. Awesome. Okay, I didn't see anyone else post any additional questions up in chat. I feel inclined to do, kind of the standard kind of everybody in the Zoom picture scenario. But I'd like to add a little extra trick to it, is if you can grab hold of your pets and bring them up. I don't know if that's possible. Okay, Elliot, you're gonna go grab grab Peaches. I don't know how. I'm going to imagine that's a bit of a challenge for you, Chris. But
if there's any loud meowing in the background, you know what happened.
okay. Oh, nice.
Oh, cute.
Oh, cute. Hello. How did you
She's due a
decide on?
haircut.
Oh, what was that?
She's due a haircut.
Is there a story behind choosing Peaches as Peaches' name?
There.
Oh, you wrangled.
But this
you
is
wrangled her.
Sophie. The other
Nice.
cat is a bit louder
Hey.
whenever she gets picked up. So I figured Sophie enjoys. She doesn't complain as much.
Cool. All right, Elliot, are you able to, while wrangling Peaches, be able to take a gallery photo of everybody? I guess I could try this as well too here.
Yep.
Actually, I'll do that since I don't have a pet in my hand.
There you go.
Okay, everybody smile. 1, 2. Excellent. Cool. Zoe, Lana, what are your pets' names? Oh, and I see a rabbit there as well.
That's Breto. Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Berto.
He's getting a little bit uncomfortable now.
Oh.
Oh,
Dogs and Zoom calls. It's easy to get shy. Yeah.
Zoe, do you use so if you need someone to look after what was your dog's name again? Breto?
Breto, yes.
Breto, yes. When you need someone to watch over Breto, what do you do? You just call friends, or what is your process?
So basically we just actually adopted him in March when the whole COVID happened. So since then we've been working from home, so we don't really have the need yet.
Mhm.
However, right now it's we're starting to slowly go back to the office, and it's always been me and my boyfriend taking turns and alternating. So one day we'll be home and the other. But yes, indeed, Nicholas, we probably be potential clients from in May or something, because
Good to hear.
we definitely would need to have a pet sitter. That's it,
Yeah.
right? Actually, I have a question because I'm not sure about the key situation.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
do I hand the key over to the sitter? And
It really depends. I mean, most sitting actually takes place in the home of the sitter. And what we do recommend is, we don't recommend, it's not like booking a movie ticket, right? That you pay online and it's all taken care of. We really do recommend meeting face-to-face, meeting the sitter beforehand, making sure Breto is comfortable with the sitter, because it can be also stressful for the pet, right? For Breto, for any pet, they're suddenly thrown in this environment, and it's good to meet up beforehand and you can kind of exchange any questions. In terms of sitting at home, the whole key situation is it's a trust thing, right? It's really, I mean, let's say this: if you can't trust that person to look after your key, you probably shouldn't trust them to look after your pet either, right? I would say.
But then here so basically, if let's say I'm supposed to come home to take Breto out for a walk, okay?
Yeah.
But then I'm caught up in a last minute meeting.
Yeah.
Or for example, the meeting extended, like what's happening right now. Then I will probably want to use the app to get a sitter to go. However, the key is with me, and then I hear that.
So you could one option would be to arrange for the sitter to come and collect the key from you. The other option would be, if you trust them enough, to give them a spare key. And there are other options which I know are used a bit more frequently in the US, sort of like a lockbox, they call them, which basically has it's like a box with a kind of a code on it, where you put your key in there, and you basically give the code to the sitter, and the sitter opens the box and has the key to enter your house. So there are different options there. It really depends on the market that you're in. I know the lockboxes in the US, at least, they're kind of quite popular here. I'm not sure how, some people have them, some people are a bit, not really. But I think the way it generally works is that that there's trust there, and the walker has a spare key.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I think the lockbox thing would be a very
Airbnb as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a problem which is it's more than one, and I know there are these kind of like also they're just different types of locks also now coming out where you don't need a key at all. It's basically just a code which changes frequently. So we think that technology is also going to develop as well with if you think of deliveries and things like that which are going up, parcel delivery when you're not home. Okay, do you live with a neighbor, or can the person have some kind of access, etc. So yeah, it's something we're looking at, but it hasn't really been a problem for us, let's say, so far. I mean, we've never had issues of theft or lack of trust there or anything like that. So I think it comes down to as I said, you have to be comfortable with that person sitting. They're looking after your treasure, your pet. It's alive. So if you can trust that, if you can't trust that person with your key, you probably shouldn't trust them with your pet.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Nicholas, do you have any last advice for Zoe or anyone else looking to start on PetBnB? Like, because you were talking about quality before. Like, are there any sort of like recommendations or secret things they should do in creating their their profiles or in posting the way they post images? Yeah.
So I think pictures tell a great story, and the quality of images and the number of images you have, the better. I mean, it's obviously a catch-22 because there's some people who love to sit pets who may not have experience, but they love to get into it. But really, it's like the more visual, let's say, feedback you can give of the kind of sitter you would be, the better. I think that's what people will look at kind of first. They'll look at, if you don't have any reviews, okay, they'll look at your picture. If you have your reviews, they'll look at your reviews. But I think, really warm pictures of you cuddling, hugging pets, walking them, whatever it is, pets having a great time around you, and a really kind of like, warm description of the kind of care that you will give. I think those things are always great advantages and make it just likely that someone will click on your profile and want to book with you.
Cool. Thank you, Nicholas. Cool. All right. So I don't want to hold everyone up any longer, but if you have any additional questions for Nicholas, his email and his LinkedIn is posted in the chat. You can also email us if you want additional information about Sandbird or any follow-ups, because obviously the information will disappear from the Zoom once we all leave. Okay, so while we wrap up here, I did want to let everyone know that we do have another Code Cafe next week with Velos Mobile. And so if you want to register, I'll post a link here. We've got 2 upcoming Code Cafes. So you can go to this link if you're interested in registering for those. Nicholas, are there any last closing remarks or things you want to tell people before we let them all go?
Well, all I'd say is, if you have a pet, and right now, if you live in the Netherlands, please sign up. We'd love for our sitters to take care of your pets. If you live somewhere else, hopefully we're going to be coming to you soon with our Sandbird powered app as well, chat in our app. So looking forward to just having as many people as possible to using the platform and hopefully expanding in other countries. Keep just watch the space and hopefully we'll be where you are soon.
Cool. Well, Nicholas, it's been an absolutely fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did as well.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for everyone who joins. If you have any questions, like Jason said, send us an email and we'll see you at the next one.